Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes only. In a hushed federal courtroom brimming with journalists, the bailiff's voice cuts through the tension. Samuel L. Jackson. The iconic actor strides to the witness stand, not to deliver cinematic quips, but to unravel a tangled web implicating two titans of black entertainment. Sean "Diddy" Combs, facing charges of orchestrating a criminal network involving sex trafficking and coercion, and Steve Harvey, accused of fostering an environment that shielded such activities. Jackson's testimony ties Lori Harvey's contentious connection to Diddy, a wave of new civil lawsuits threatening Harvey's media empire, and a decades-long trail of alleged intimidation. Over the next half hour, his words, backed by phone records, a covert body cam recording, and a meticulously kept archive, detonate like a shockwave, leaving reputations and perhaps liberties teetering by the time the gavel falls. The Combs-Harvey trial, centered on racketeering and obstruction, had already been a spectacle of music moguls, security personnel, and accounts from shaken former associates. Yet on day 8, a bombshell emerged. A previously sealed subpoena, quietly issued by prosecutors, summoned Jackson, whose commanding voice has driven billions in box office revenue. Reporters anticipated a brief commentary on industry dynamics. Instead, they got a 45-minute roadmap exposing how Steve Harvey's ambition, Diddy's unchecked power, and the exploitation of young black women, cloaked as mentorship, intertwined. Jackson began by explaining his evidence, a trove of emails, direct messages, and texts. 23 years ago, he made a vow to his newborn daughter Zoe to shield her from Hollywood's predatory underbelly, where dreams are sold but souls often suffocate. That promise turned him into a silent chronicler, collecting whispers, saving screenshots, and building a timeline to safeguard his child from industry figures hiding behind producer titles. In 2018, while filming Shaft in Brooklyn, an assistant slipped him a USB drive after a late-night shoot. It held an audio clip of Steve Harvey advising Lori on what Jackson called a high-stakes etiquette guide, including the line, "A mogul's not your partner, he's your boardroom." Jackson archived it, suspecting it was more than parental pragmatism. A month later, another file surfaced from a bad boy entertainment technician, a grainy video from a studio break room showing Diddy directing Lori's public wardrobe while mocking Steve Harvey with Stevie Wonder jabs. Recognizing a pattern that had derailed countless young talents, Jackson began cataloging evidence, cross-referencing flight records and flagging dates. He knew that if this behavior escalated to violence, authorities would need more than rumors. They'd need a paper trail. On the stand, he presented damning exhibits, an NDA template labeled Lifestyle Agreement that Harvey sent to Diddy, and a voice memo where Diddy refers to Lori as a green room retainer. Reading these in his deliberate baritone, Jackson framed them as proof of parental neglect, predatory professionalism, and a coast-to-coast power trade, sometimes with people as the currency. The gallery stirred. Even Judge Ramirez's brow arched. Harvey, seated at the defense table, studied the wood grain as if it might swallow him whole. The defense's cross-examination only sharpened Jackson's edge. Attorney Wickham suggested Jackson held a grudge for never joining Bad Boy Films. With a wry chuckle, Jackson countered, "I passed on that role because the script had me slapping a 21-year-old intern. Turns out they just took it off the page and into reality." The jury smirked. The judge let it stand. When Wickham accused Jackson of peddling online gossip, the actor unveiled a final bombshell. An encrypted signal message from a senior Harvey aide boasting, "This Lori Puff connection will lock in another decade of family man cred." The courtroom froze and the recess bell rang like a siren. After lunch, prosecutors had Jackson outline his 8-step grooming ladder, a framework he'd mentioned in pre-trial interviews. Flipping open a worn leather notebook he called the Red Ledger, a habit begun during Jurassic Park in 1993, he detailed the process. Step 1. Access through admiration, where a powerful figure publicly anoints a young talent as a living trophy. Step 2. Co-branding, turning that admiration into public displays of closeness, matching event outfits, stage appearances, or curated social media posts. Step 3. Exclusivity, where parental figures morph into gatekeepers, isolating the talent from outside contacts. Jackson mapped this onto Lori's timeline. A 2017 Harvey radio segment hailing Diddy as a black success model, followed 6 weeks later by Lori's modeling gigs being quietly canceled so she could trail Bad Boy's team in Los Angeles. "That's your co-branding," Jackson said. He then revealed an email chain where Harvey's assistant requested Vogue Arabia pull Lori from a Dubai shoot for family priorities. Prosecutors called this the exclusivity trap. Jackson didn't stop there. He reached back to 1995 before Lori's birth to trace Harvey's ties to Diddy's world through Uptown Records. He testified that a young Steve Harvey struck a deal with promoter Kirk Burroughs, free comedy sets for gentle interviews with emerging hip-hop artists. That barter, Jackson argued, laid the foundation for a system that thrived on complicity. Jackson revealed how this dynamic transformed journalists into unwitting promoters and comedians into brand emissaries. He fast-forwarded to 2006 when Steve Harvey married Marjorie, previously wed to Memphis drug kingpin Jim Townsend. Jackson referenced Townsend's sealed plea deal, which hinted at an entertainment corridor funneling illicit concert earnings through Atlanta's boutique fashion labels. Producing the docket number, Jackson watched as prosecutors logged it into evidence. Then came a bombshell. He alleged Harvey's syndicated talk show doubled as a reputation cleansing engine for figures like Diddy, repackaging nightclub tycoons as daytime TV philanthropists. To illustrate, Jackson played a 2013 clip from Harvey's show where Diddy promoted his charter school initiative mere days after TMZ aired footage of him hurling a kettlebell at a UCLA coach. As the studio audience's applause blared through the courtroom monitors, the jury sat expressionless. Defense counsel objected, calling it a gossip-fueled history lesson, but Judge Ramirez overruled, citing Rico's focus on patterns. Jackson wrapped Part 2 by presenting a 2020 Christmas card, allegedly from Diddy to Steve and Marjorie, inscribed, "Family is the ultimate brand synergy. Let's keep building." Closing the card, he faced the jury and declared, "That's step 8, turning bloodlines into revenue streams." Gasps rippled. The stenographer paused to reload paper. If the emails and notebooks stunned the room, Jackson's next move, dubbed The Reel, left it reeling. He introduced a curated montage of clips gathered over 15 years from industry insiders turned whistleblowers. As prosecutors dimmed the lights and lowered a screen, Jackson narrated each fragment with precision. Clip 1, a shaky 2009 iPhone video from a yacht off St. Bart's, showed Diddy, Harvey, and 2 unnamed executives toasting champagne while a young woman, prosecutors suggested Lori, aged 12, performed a choreographed dance, prompted by an off-screen female voice. Jackson froze the frame, pointing to Harvey's smile. "That's when a father becomes a broker." Clip 2 from 2015 backstage at the BET Awards captured Lori, now 18, in a makeup chair. A stylist murmured, "Daddy says puffs here in 5, to which Lori replied, "Make me look mature." Jackson urged the jury to note the imposed adulthood. The third clip from March 2019 in a Soho penthouse kitchen was the most jarring. A shirtless Diddy instructed a chef to plate the oyster sexy. "She'll eat off my chain." Off camera, Lori's nervous laugh answered, "Unc, you're wild." The chef, glancing at the lens, muttered, "This is wrong," and Jackson revealed the chef resigned the next day, contacting him after hearing his UNCF speech on protecting daughters. The chef's sworn affidavit entered into evidence backed the clip. The fourth clip exposed Harvey's public persona. A 2021 Zoom rehearsal for his motivational tour showed him believing the recording was off, telling a producer, "No sermon without a collection plate, same as a revolt deal." He bragged about Diddy wiring funds to Lori's LLC. Jackson let the words linger, stating, "That's the machinery of grooming." As the lights rose, jurors avoided the defense table's gaze. Diddy scribbled frantically. Harvey mopped his brow. Prosecutors rested their audio-visual case and Jackson delivered a final blow, a sealed statement from his daughter Zoe, read aloud, affirming that his vigilance kept me from the pipeline that consumed others. Defense counsel's attempt to claim the videos were doctored collapsed when a government forensic expert confirmed unedited metadata from multiple devices. Over objections, the judge admitted the clips. Jackson stepped down, leaving a courtroom that felt claustrophobic, as if every corner hid a lens. Outside, chants of "Protect Black Daughters" swelled, while Harvey's team requested an overnight recess to regroup. Whispers circulated that 2 other celebrity fathers had contacted prosecutors, fearing their daughters' names might surface next. In the 4th segment, prosecutors rolled in a cart stacked with bankers' boxes labeled Vista Aviation. Jackson, adjusting his horn-rimmed glasses, dissected 27 flight manifests spanning 13 years, dismantling the defense's claim of innocent celebrity getaways. He anchored the jury in 2010 when social media placed Harvey mentoring teens in Chicago and Diddy in Italy. Yet a Vista Aviation log showed a Gulfstream 4 leaving Van Nuys on July 13th, bound for a private airstrip near Nassau, carrying Mr. Sean Combs, Ms. Marjorie Harvey, and Ms. Lori Harvey, age 17. The gallery stirred. An alternate juror mouthed 17. Jackson pressed on, detailing a 2012 manifest where Harvey's foundation covered fees for an Anguilla trip, the same jet later appearing in Diddy's tour rider. Lori, he noted, joined Bad Boy staff and a stylist known for freak-off wardrobe selections on that plane, linking her to the secluded villas and candlelit Tulum compounds described in Cassie's civil suit. Midway through, prosecutors introduced phone tower data. Jackson narrated a split screen. On one side, Harvey's Atlanta radio show broadcast, on the other, his personal phone pinging Anguilla towers during supposed live airtime, enabled by pre-recorded segments. This allowed him to escort his underage daughter onto Mr. Combs's yacht, Jackson said. Defense objections of speculation were overruled. The phone record stood. Closing the folder, Jackson told the jury, "The question isn't whether these trips happened, it's what a 50-year-old mogul and a comedy icon gained by concealing them." By lunch, spectators likened the testimony to a forensic audit, transforming a celebrity friendship into an alleged trafficking conduit. Jackson emerged not as a star, but as a relentless chronicler of truth. Post-lunch, the lights dimmed again. Jackson, gripping a remote, introduced a clip with caution. September 3, 2018, 2 weeks before Lori Harvey's 22nd birthday, at a Martha's Vineyard mansion dubbed White Rabbit in Combs' security emails. The courtroom fell silent as he pressed play. Night vision footage revealed a poolside cabana, likely recorded by a wall-mounted camera. Subtitles captured Diddy's voice. "Pass the Louis Vuitton bag, Fahim." Jackson emphasized the correct pronunciation. Fahim, double E, echoing a prior witness. Steve Harvey's laugh followed. "You wild puff." Then, amid ice clinking, the phrase, "rinse her, then send her to makeup" appeared in subtitles, crackling over generator hum. The 45-second clip landed like a grenade. A marshal quieted the gallery's murmurs. Jackson detailed the chain of custody. A former estate manager provided the drive, as Harvey's team failed to disable the cabana camera. The phrase, "rinse her," matched Cassie and Dawn Richards' accounts of Diddy's post-freak-off ritual, eucalyptus oil showers to reset women for public appearances. Harvey's presence, feet from a bag later seized by Homeland Security containing benzodiazepines and prepaid Visa cards, implicated him directly. Defense counsel pushed back, alleging deepfake manipulation and questioning time codes, even suggesting Harvey's image might be a hologram for a comedy bit. The jury, stone-faced, scribbled notes. Jackson countered with phone metadata, placing Harvey on the Vineyard and a $4,800 Venmo payment from Harvey's LLC to the estate for late checkout. He read a text from Lori to a friend the next morning. "Puff says my Smiles rating's gold. Dad keeps saying ownership matters. I feel like property." The gallery froze. The recess bell rang, but the Vineyard tape, a visual rebuke of Harvey's family values brand, lingered, reshaping the trial's arc. Returning, Jackson pivoted to motive, citing the Weenan clause in Harvey's 2017 Endeavor content deal. Holding up a redlined contract, he pointed to paragraph 16C, granting Endeavor first-look rights to Harvey's faith-based dramas with profit boosts if Combs's portfolio co-funded production. Translation: Harvey's streaming ventures hinged on Diddy's financial backing. Jackson outlined The Fallout, a 2019 gospel docuseries, stalled until Bad Boy Ventures wired $2 million, tying Harvey's empire to Combs's influence. The docuseries, backed by Diddy's Fast channel, aired only after the network rebranded it Sunday Service, Legacy of Praise, a nod to Kanye West's choir empire, another thread in Diddy's sprawling influence. How did this tie to Lori? Jackson presented emails from Harvey's business manager urging him to keep pristine optics with Combs to secure future contract renewals. One line stood out: L's companionship remains a cornerstone asset. Jackson paused, letting companionship echo like a gunshot. That's code, he said, for what prosecutors call trafficking by coercion. He then introduced a shielded affidavit from a former Harvey household chef, read aloud, describing a 2019 gala rehearsal dinner where Marjorie Harvey instructed Lori to wear a sheer Tom Ford, no lining, because the guests prefer her natural silhouette. The chef claimed the order came via Diddy's stylist. Defense counsel objected, citing relevance, but Jackson countered, "We've shown Harvey's financial dependence on Combs's empire. Now we see the behavioral compromises in his home." Judge Morales permitted it, and Jackson concluded that the Whenan clause fueled a pipeline. Spiritual programming funds flowed only if Harvey stayed in Diddy's favor, a favor allegedly contingent on Lori's presence at Combs's exclusive gatherings. Closing Part 6, Jackson turned to parenting, contrasting Harvey's viral advice to fathers, "Guard your daughter's gate," with contracts that monetized his own daughter's presence. "That gate," Jackson declared, "was leased hourly, Your Honor, and the landlord sits at the defense table." A collective gasp swept the gallery as he gathered his notes, murmurs of stunning trailing him to counsel's table. The day adjourned with reporters scrambling to file stories. Samuel L. Jackson ties faith deal to alleged trafficking network. Parts 4 through 6 obliterated any notion of mere celebrity drama, revealing a corporate spiritual scheme built on flight logs, hidden cameras, and a clause linked to gospel icons. Jackson, the masterful storyteller, had exposed its machinery. The silence after Jackson's direct testimony shattered as Brian Steele, Diddy's lead attorney, approached the lectern with a showman's confidence, aiming to discredit the messenger. "Mr. Jackson, you've played larger-than-life heroes for decades. Aren't you just performing now?" Jackson, arms crossed, replied in his resonant baritone, "No script here, sir. This is a federal courtroom, not a soundstage." Steele flashed photos of Jackson and Combs at industry galas, grinning over champagne. "You shared his spotlight, walked his carpets. Now you brand him a predator?" Jackson didn't waver. "I was there for a film premiere, not coaching him on exploiting young women." Steele shifted to Harvey, suggesting Jackson's parenting critiques were hearsay. "You never met Lori privately, correct?" Jackson nodded. "Exactly. That's why I hold her father accountable, not her." The gallery stirred, struck by his candor. Steele's ace was an email chain where Harvey thanked Jackson for Hollywood family advice, implying Jackson twisted private counsel post-Diddy scandal. But the emails lacked context, and Jackson pounced. "I urged Steve to set boundaries he and your client ignored." Judge Morales sustained most defense objections on form but allowed the broader narrative. As Steele sat, Jackson faced the jury. "I'm here not for rumors, but because silence became deafening." The court reporter hesitated as if the weight of his words demanded a pause. Assistant U.S. Attorney Ramirez introduced the next exhibit, a mislabeled DAT cassette from a storage unit once leased by a Bad Boy employee. As the lights dimmed, a hush fell. Tiny speakers crackled with Jackson's unmistakable voice. "Puff, why are teens in here?" A muffled laugh, clearly Diddy's, replied, "They're grown enough for my needs." Clinking glasses and chatter faded as the tape cut off. Jackson confirmed its authenticity, recorded in 2003 at a Midtown after-hours spot dubbed Studio 23. He'd carried a pocket recorder after noticing rampant excess. "I knew proof would matter if things went south," he told the jury. "But I buried it for years because no one wanted the gritty truth behind glossy music videos." Defense counsel demanded exclusion, citing chain of custody issues, but Morales overruled, letting the jury assess credibility. Jackson then revealed a gut punch. The teenage male laughing on the tape was Justin Combs. "That night," he said, "I saw a generational cycle, and Steve Harvey was feeding his daughter into it." Prosecutors used the tape to show Diddy normalized boundary-free parties, banking on silence bought with perks. Jackson recalled Diddy's limo boast, "Hollywood dads bring me treasures. I make them shine." The quote landed heavily, tied to earlier evidence of a Cartier bracelet Diddy sent Lori. As the tape stopped, jurors exchanged glances, the mogul's glamour replaced by the hiss of predation on analog tape, a relic damning for its unintended candor. Prosecutors shifted to damages, social, psychological, generational. Jackson testified that after publicly criticizing Harvey's parenting, industry gatekeepers sidelined him. Scripts stalled, calls went unanswered, gala invites vanished. "That's the cost of truth in a fantasy factory," he growled. He recounted a 2021 charity golf event where Harvey confronted him. "You cost me sponsors, brother." Jackson shot back, "You cost your daughter's trust." Jurors scribbled. Even Morales' expression flickered with concern. Jackson's final strike was a screenshot of an encrypted text displayed on the courtroom monitor. "Diddy to Harvey. Sam's on a rampage. Remind your girl NDAs hold weight." The gallery erupted. Morales' gavel demanded order. Defense objections were overruled after metadata verification. Ramirez argued the text showed consciousness of guilt. Diddy feared exposure and leaned on Harvey to enforce silence. Jackson closed with a direct plea. "I can't erase what these men did, but I can ensure it's not buried under ratings or royalties." As he stepped down, reporters bolted for the exits. Diddy, stone-faced, conferred with counsel. Harvey, present by subpoena, stared at the floor. Outside, hashtags like "Listen to Sam" and "Protect Black Daughters" trended, Diddy's streaming numbers tanked, and Harvey's ad deals quietly dissolved. Inside, the jury, though not sequestered, left under martial escort, clutching notepads heavy with quotes that would shape deliberations. The government planned to call financial forensics experts next, but the real currency, Jackson's unyielding credibility as an elder statesman torching old alliances for accountability, had already shifted the trial's tide. His final words echoed under the courtroom's vaulted ceiling, pushing the trial of Sean Diddy Combs closer to a reckoning that could redefine celebrity power and parental betrayal for a generation.